Second, with regards to the plane crash in Russia yesterday, just north of Moscow, it kind of happened while we were on the air. It's been reported that mercenary leader Yevgeny Prigozhin, who led a brief armed rebellion against the Russian military earlier this year, was on that plane and died in the crash. This Prigozhin is the same guy that Robert Mueller indicted and charged with conspiracy to defraud the United States. Ironically or not, the same crime Donald Trump has been charged with. This is just one more incident whereupon everyone in this country should be thankful Donald Trump is no longer president. Legitimate President Joe Biden was asked for his take on the crash. Let's listen to what he said.
Mr. President, do you have a reaction to the plane crash in Russia?
I don't know for a fact what happened, but I am not surprised.
Do you believe Putin is behind this, sir?
There's not much that happens in Russia not behind, but I don't know enough to know the answer. I've been working out for the last hour and a half.
And that's how a president should respond. He says he's not surprised, but also adds he doesn't have enough information to know the answer. Completely appropriate and, frankly, presidential. Because I read last night that it is not known for certain if Yevgeny Prigozhin was indeed on that plane. Keir Giles, a Russia expert with the international affairs think tank Chatham House, urged caution about reports of Prigozhin's death. Why? Because apparently Prigozhin is extremely popular in Russia. They see him as a populist. And Giles said, quote, multiple people in Russia have changed their name to Yevgeny Prigozhin in order to help mask Prigozhin's travels, end quote, which is a pretty strong testament to Prigozhin's popularity. And I can totally relate to that. Do you know how many people here in the United States have changed their name to Doug Basham in order to help protect me? Even a famous former wrestler did it. In fact, if you Google Doug Basham, he's the guy who comes up first before me. I mean, what a friend. And I truly appreciate him looking out for me. And he's not the only one. Even an NFL football player changed his name to Doug Basham. But it was how Biden ended his remarks that grabbed me. He said, quote, I don't know enough to answer. I've been working out for the last hour and a half. Whoa, Joe, you be pumping iron? Now, I don't know if you folks are aware of this, but back in the day, I spent a fair amount of time in the gym as well. Oh, yeah. They used to call me a banana gymnast. I was great at splits. And I remember when I first went to that gym, I told my trainer I wanted to be able to do the splits. He asked me, how flexible are you? And I said, well, I can't do Tuesdays and Fridays. And I got to admit, sit-ups were my favorite exercise. Why? Because you get to lie down between them. And the best time to work out is in the morning, immediately after you wake up. Why? Because you can get your workout in before your brain fully wakes up and realizes what it's doing. And they had this just amazing machine at the gym I used to go to. Now, I felt sick after I used it for an hour, but it had everything. Doritos, Snickers, Mountain Dew, potato chips, you name it. And speaking of machines, I asked my trainer what machine I should use to impress a 25-year-old. He looked me up and down and said, I'd recommend an ATM. And I remember this one guy who I used to see a lot as we went on the same days and at the same time. One time he said to me, when I get home, I'm going to rip my wife's underpants off. And I said, why is that? And he said, because the elastic is killing me. And you know, people go on and on about six-packs. Six-packs. I'll have you know, I have a wonderful six-pack. In fact, it is so great, I'm using my beer belly to protect it. But finally, I canceled my membership at the gym. I felt like a great weight had been taken off my shoulders. Now, I hadn't been to a gym for quite a while, but 6 months ago, I made the leap and I got me a new membership at a new gym. Problem is, in 6 months, I haven't lost a single pound. So tomorrow, I'm going to go down there in person and see what the heck is going on. And have you heard this? Apparently there's a new gym that actually sends trainers to your door unannounced. It's called Jehovah's Fitness. In conclusion, you know the worst thing about online dating? When a girl says she weighs 115 pounds, but when you're lifting her up to put her in your trunk, she weighs over 150.